everybody. How are we all doing? Happy Monday. Morning. Who's here? Morning, Marco, Danny, Mumble, Robert. How are we all doing? So it is Monday, start of a new week. This week is the first week we're going to be doing the new members streams. So there's a bit of a different layout to this week's live stream. So I just want to start off by covering that today. If I can find it, where am I here? So basically obviously the new members area is all kicked off and live now. So all the MST Academy content is all structured and scheduled into the calendar now. So the way that it's going to work now, and this is obviously just a test to see if this kind of works as a schedule for members basically. But we got obviously this session here today, which is going to be roughly 45 minutes. So this is basically looking at the week ahead, looking at the news events, trade the DAX as usual, and go through everything on YouTube basically as we normally do. Look for opportunities on RSIs, ADRs, everything we normally do every day. Then at 9 o'clock, we go straight into the members stream. So this morning, we're going to be covering diversification, correlation and risk awareness, and expectancy versus reality, and how to allocate capital into different accounts, all that sort of thing. And then on Wednesday, we have a 9 o'clock members stream, which will be covering economic data and market movement. So basically just going into depth as to how and why the markets basically move, so you understand basically how it all works, really. This is one of the key sort of lessons which people tend to not focus on. They focus on strategy rather than why the thing's actually going to go and when it's going to go. So very important part, that bit. Then Wednesday afternoon, we have a YouTube stream. So here again, and that's just basically usual stuff, going over midweek analysis, what's happened so far in the news, trade the NASDAQ, Dow and gold with the ORB, look at how the position trading accounts going on, usual stuff. Then Friday, we go into a members stream at 9 o'clock. We're going to be covering this week trade planning. So visualizing the two outcomes of the trade, looking for where the trade is going to go when you enter it, where its outcomes are, basically, very simple. And then we're going to cover the three strategies. So we're going to go through, obviously, mean reversion, trend and breakout. Friday, we then have the 2:30 YouTube stream, which is basically the usual sort of NASDAQ, Dow, everything. These are all 45 minutes. And then we have a weekly members Q&A. So basically everything that we cover during the week, if you're unable to attend it, there is a button which you can press to ask questions. So the idea of the Friday members stream is going to be everybody that's asked questions that hasn't been able to attend the stream. Obviously, we will go through those questions. So basically, I'll answer all those questions, and it's a general Q&A. Obviously, these are in Zoom, so we can just discuss basic general stuff about strategy. And that's basically it. So that's this week, and obviously, every week we have different things scheduled into the calendar. So starting from next week, we're going to be covering support, resistance, average daily range, market structure, candlesticks, indicator types, price action patterns. Yeah, so it's just going to go through lesson by lesson, different things every week. So you're basically building up all the information you need. So that's this week. So we are obviously here right now, and we'll be doing this for 45 minutes. That's the plan. Right. So, yeah, so for members, obviously, if you're already a member, at 9 o'clock, we'll have a 15-minute break after this. And at 9 o'clock, we go straight into Zoom. Obviously, you'll be able to join the Zoom meeting if you are a member, obviously. So just click that button. Right. This week's economic calendar. There's not a massive amount of high impact this week. There is a fair bit of high impact, but the main things this week, obviously, are going to be the PMIs for everybody, Europe, etc., etc. So they're obviously quite important, the PMIs. But compared to last week, all the interest rates and everything we had, it's a lot less impactive. So today, there's not a lot. We've had Bullock speaking this morning. We've got Moran speaking later, and Bailey. It's a bank holiday in Japan tomorrow. So that's basically not really going to do much. Shouldn't do anyway. And then we go into PMI. So tomorrow basically is PMI day. Lots of opportunities with PMI, good market movement usually. PMI leads into CPI, which leads into interest rates. So it's a very important leading indicator. We've got Powell speaking later on tomorrow as well. Then we've got CPI for the Aussie. That's forecast to go up. We are seeing a lot of strength in the Australian dollar at the moment. And potentially if that number comes out as forecast, we will see that sustained strength holding. So if you look at currency strength at the moment and look at the dailies, you can see, it's dropped a little bit actually from last week. So it's, dropping a little bit. We were sitting fairly high. It's dropping. I wouldn't say it's particularly weak, but it is dropping down a little bit now, the Aussie. So there is potential obviously for that to maintain strength or power up, depending on what we get. If that CPI number comes out as previous or lower than previous, which to be fair is unlikely, it doesn't happen that often, we might see some weakness coming into the to the Aussie. But we'll wait and see what happens with that one. So that's your main move on Wednesday. Thursday, we go into the monetary policy for the Swiss. This is random as hell, as you can see. They decide what to do on the day, basically, the Swiss. So, we are forecasted to stay flat interest rates, but it could go absolutely anywhere. So wait for that one. Press conference is where we're going to get some guidance as to where it's going to go. They don't tend to tell us much, the Swiss, so probably won't get much out of it. GDP for the US, an hour before market open on Thursday, so just be aware of that one. That could be impactive. We've got the unemployment claims as well. And then going into Friday, it's GDP for the CAD and PCE. So, so it's all kind of sprinkled through this week. So although these are kind of high impact news events, that's unlikely to do anything unless they come out with a deviation, then it will. But really, it's all loaded around tomorrow, PMIs. That's where we're going to get the most of the impact this week. Right, so there's your news for this week. Let's have a quick look at ORB and see what's happening with the DAX this morning. So the DAX, obviously, where's my pen gone? I haven't opened it up yet. So the DAX, basically, we've got this propulsion gap here, which we're kind of hovering around at the moment. So we've got a gap down scenario already. So there is a potential gap fill upside break this morning. This is your downside support, which you can see I've got marked on the chart already from I think it was from Friday last week. So this is basically where we are support-wise. We're hovering around this one at the moment. So an upside break to the gap fill is the first play today. Downside break to support. Potentially could come down into this area as well. So there's plenty of room. At the moment, obviously, there's your 1 bar range. That's your 5-minute ORB. We're inside bar at the present. So looking at distance-wise, we're looking at somewhere about 36 as a stop. Gap fills about 82. So we have got a 2R move to the upside available to us. Downside, there's only 71, so just shy of 2R. So just watch the downside bounce. If we do break down, it might be worth taking a partial there just in case. Upside should be able to get the gap fill done, but just be aware of a spike into it. But there you go. That's the DAX today. So at the moment we're inside bar on the 5-minute range. 1 minute left. So we'll wait and see if that goes, but not really doing much at the moment, is it? DAX quiet. Morning, everybody else. Morning, Michael. Morning, Yotko, Andres, Comfortably Crumbs, Mumo. How we doing? Chris, can't see your screen, just your camera. Oh, hello. Why can't we see? Sorry, I was on completely the wrong layout. Do you know why that is? It's because I was playing around with Zoom this morning. Right, so yeah, you can't see my screen. I've just been through all of that crap and you don't know what the hell I was talking about. There's the calendar. There's the Aussie strength that I was talking about. There's the DAX that I was talking about. And I've got my head in the wrong place, haven't I, for this? Let me just turn myself off and get rid of myself. There we go. All right, there you go. I'm a member, but no link to the Zoom. Is saying to become a member, Or will there be a close? Marco. So you should have a button there if you are a member. It should say up here, your membership level. You should be up there. It should say, I don't know, whatever you are. Silly question, will the Zoom streams remain available for the members to see afterwards? Yes. Yeah, so basically when you go into the lessons, into here, you'll have a replay button. So at the moment, if the lesson hasn't happened, it will tell you when the lesson is happening. If the lesson has happened, you will have a replay button like this. This is last week's, where you can watch the recording. And that'll basically take you to the recording of the lesson. So the whole point is you can watch the recording and then you can ask a question about that recording to get the answer, basically. If you're a member and you can't see that, I don't know. Pass on that. I don't know the answer to that one. I like that we do it without charts today. Yes, sorry. Morning, ladies. Yes, it says I'm a pro member, but no link to Zoom. So you should have a join stream button there. So go into the lesson. Yeah. And in here, you should have a join live stream button as well, Marco. I can't see the button also. Brilliant. Right. Have you gone into here and actually sit on here and see the button? I can see the button. How can you not see the button? If I can see the button. It's the same website. It's there. I don't know the answer to that one, guys. I mean, it is there, the button. So you're going to have to just bear with me if you haven't got the button. I have. I'm an elite member. I haven't got an account with a pro membership. I wonder if it's something to do with pro membership rather than elite. So you should be able to, wrong one. So in here, you should also have that button as well. If you haven't, let me know. I have no idea how I'm going to handle that this morning, because if you can't access the stream, you can't access the stream. I can't do anything about that. It all worked for you on Friday when we did that test, didn't it? So I don't know. What I might have to do then, no, it's not there. So what is there? Someone's going to have to send me a screenshot in Discord or something, because I can't fix it if it's not broken, because as you can see on the screen, I am a member and I have the button. So if it's not there for you, I don't know. I can't really do anything about it, because you have to click that button to access the Zoom. I can send you a link to it. So if you're in here now and you haven't got that button, you're going to have to DM me on Discord or on Telegram, and I will send you the link to join this morning. This lesson will be scheduled. I need your full screenshot so I can see your membership and everything. That's not going to help me mumble. So I'm looking at Mumble's screenshots he sent me. Okay, leave it with me. I will check that out. How long have we got? What I'll do is I'll end the stream 15 minutes early today. And I will check that. Let me put my screen back on. Okay. Yeah, so I'll check that. I don't know what's happened to that. I think it's something to do with pro membership versus elite membership. It should be showing for both. Pass. Anyway, let's have a look at the DAX. DAX broken short, so nice clean breakout to the downside on the DAX. So watch this downside target here today. So that is your downside support. Right, FX wise, so there's a few ADRs today. The ADRs that we've got today basically are not real ADRs. So we've got Aussie Swiss. So if you look at the ADR hits today, we've got Swiss franc, Euro Swiss there, Pound Swiss, and New Zealand dollar Swiss. So those are your ADRs. And we've also got the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. So if you look at all of these today, CAD Swiss there, it's all because of this gap down scenario that we've had. So the market basically gapped all the way down to there and then pushed all the way back up again. So these are not real ADR hits today. All these Swiss franc ones, it's basically just broker movement overnight. That's the Swiss yen. Let me have a look at the other ones. Where are we? Euro Swiss. Yeah, so this is a gap down fill that happened within an hour. So this is no liquidity and spread. So none of these really are ADRs today. So you can ignore all of those. Aussie, New Zealand, same thing. It's just a gap down fill. So it's not real. So there's no ADRs to look at this morning. They're all just gappy rubbish. RSIs, there's an hourly, only the one on gold. So gold is extended at the moment on the hourly. So big, strong push up there. You can see we're just over we're sort of sitting around about 73 level on that at the moment. So very big, strong push there on gold this morning. Gold's been flying, obviously, with this weak US dollar. So, yeah, nice big spike up there this morning to have a look at. If you look at the dollar, obviously, over time, pound odd has just hit ADR as well. We've had that weakness in that dollar, and it's potentially going to continue, but we'll wait and see what happens. What was that? Pound odd, wasn't it? Yeah, pound odd. So big spike up there on pound. That's weakness in the Australian dollar. So the Australian dollar is coming down hard. That's why that one's just hit ADR. Ooh, big drop. Big drop on the pound. Right. So those are your ADRs and RSIs on the hourly. There's quite a few 4-hourly RSIs. You can go and obviously have a look at these at your leisure. But there is quite a few RSI extensions on the 4-hourly. So I'm just going to whiz through all the charts because there's lots of them and we can have a look at them. So you can see there, Aussie US. So this is just undoing. So this is the profit take. Watch that monthly support there for potential bounce today out of this propulsion gap. So this is a profit take on that leg there. So if you shorted this one, which you would have been into kind of here, you'd have been out on that. I think I was in that and out on that. So if you got into the 4-hour RSI extension, you'll be nicely in profit on that one now. Aussie CAD extended to the downside. Again, these are all profit takes on this Australian leg. We've had that strength in the Australian dollar. This is the profit take leg, back down into propulsion, monthly resistance, usual stuff we're going to cover this week, actually. A lot of support and resistance, and the two outcomes, basically, that lesson that we're covering is all to do with where it's going. It's going here. So, yeah, Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar Swiss, that one was extended last week. So you had long opportunities there. That's really coming down, that Aussie, isn't it? So got this push up into propulsion. So this propulsion gap is complete. So these are your targets to the upside now. Obviously, you're bang in the middle of a range here. So not the best place in the world to take a trade from because it could either test one of those two. It will do, 100% guaranteed. It's going up there or down there. There is only two outcomes. There's only two ways it can go. So not the greatest place to take a trade from at the moment. But that extension last week, if you were into it, might get a bounce out weekly support at 125 ADR, potentially. But something definitely going on with that Aussie this morning. Let's just quickly check the news and just see if there's anything exciting happening with the Australian dollar. No, it's just selling off. So they're selling off basically ahead of the news this week. We've got that CPI number coming out on Wednesday. It is possible that there's been a leak on the CPI number and they know that's going to come out lower than forecast. They might get a 2.7 or a 2.8. That might be why they're massively selling this off this morning, but I don't know. Could just be profit take leg getting out of that previous move before the CPI number comes in, because obviously banks and institutions heavily long Australian dollar at the moment, so they want to take some of that off ahead of the risk of CPI on Wednesday. Aussie New Zealand, that was extended to the upside above 80. So any extension above 80 usually incredibly reliable. Aussie New Zealand, however, at the moment is a real grindy, horrible pair at the moment. It's just in this long grind, which it's been in for months now, basically. Go back to July here when this move started. We pushed up, accumulated for basically 6 weeks, had that news on the Australian dollar, ground away for 4 weeks, no real opportunity to exit, and then that big spike last week. So I suspect over the next 4 weeks we'll move back down into propulsion. But yeah, it's a horrible pair at the moment, that one. Aussie US, nice extension to the downside. Again, pulling back in profit take. We looked at this one already, so potential bounce out of there, or maybe coming all the way back down. So we're pulling back down inside of that 2-month high resistance at the moment. So it's a false breakout to the upside. So look for a propulsion gap retest. Come back down into there. CAD Swiss, big extension out of the downside last week. If you took that one, you're back in profit. Monthly, double monthly resistance to the upside there. So potential bounce back down from there. So that's a nice little entry, although you wouldn't really get into that one this morning because this massive spread. So that was the reversal alert this morning. But I mean, it's very hard to trade Asian session because obviously the spreads are just ridiculous. So yeah, there is an extension there. Whether or not you could get on that, I don't know. But there is a little bit more upside on this one as well. So I'd be a little bit cautious about the CAD Swiss. This is obviously a Swiss franc move. CAD yen just about extended on the 4 hour above the 70. Swiss yen was extended last week. That's come down nicely. Euro CAD, again, tricky to get in. The extension was overnight over the weekend, but that propulsion gap looks like it's holding again. So again, propulsion, big propulsion, support, big propulsion, support, big propulsion, support. Big strong move. Weak Canadian dollar with weak US. Euro, I'm not quite sure why it's so strong at the moment, but it is. Euro Swiss, not extended, nothing. Euro pound, nicely extended to the upside. Again, very slow mover. Euro pound only got an ADR of 31, just doesn't move. So selling out propulsion. Euro yen, big extension to the upside. Nice divergence. Oh no, it's not divergence. Sorry, not divergence, but nice extension to the upside on Friday. That one's just started to play out to the downside, so that one's working out nicely. Missed it though. Nothing much to do on that. You're in New Zealand, nice extension on Friday, but again, this New Zealand dollar getting hammered at the minute. Very nice extension on Friday on that one. Big strong push down. Now you're extended to the downside, so there's potential for that one to bounce back up. Ideally, you'd want to see it down in propulsion and look for that move there. But again, US dollar weak. No reason why that dollar should be strong at the moment. Pound odd CAD. So good opportunity on pound CAD, nicely extended. The 15-minute reverse alert's already gone in this morning. Yeah, so pushing up potentially into that monthly, got double monthly resistance there. This is one big old propulsion gap on the hourly chart. A lovely target to the upside. You've got two of them. So that's the monthly, double monthly, and that's your propulsion move to the downside. That's not been tested yet. Then we had that second downside move on Friday, not been tested yet. So we should easily be able to get up into there today, maybe tomorrow. That's obviously a very high potential as well, coming all the way back up into there. But you've also got downside targets down here as well. So where we are at the moment, this doesn't look like it's going to hold this morning. Either going up into there or up into there. Pound Swiss, whoops. That. Pound yen. Again, can't do anything with that. When you've got these RSI extensions that happen on the weekly crossover, you're just not going to be able to get an entry on them. There's no point trying. Pound US. So that's nicely extended and embedded at the moment. It has just started to come out. We've just had a reversal on the 4 hour there. Nice 3-bar reversal. Sorry, on the hourly. Nice 3-bar reversal there at the lows. So nice big push there. 4 hour. Whoops. Nicely extended. So you've got very nice opportunity there on the pound US dollar. That is going to mean that we're going to need more weakness in the dollar, which is potentially on the cards. Market structure, very nicely long. That is a beautiful market structure. That's absolute textbook. So coming back up to retest those highs to the upside. So big extension there on Wednesday last week. Beautiful move back down, entry now, looking for it to push back up again. New Zealand dollar CAD, very nicely extended. That's a lovely level as well. Look at that, New Zealand dollar CAD. So we've got this low here, which was last month's low. They've retested it twice, and we're back down there again with a massive, strong move from last week. Beautiful move up into propulsion on the cards there. The New Zealand dollar is getting hammered on news, but the Canadian dollar is also weak off the back of oil pricing and on the back of the US dollar. So there's a good chance that this could push up as well. Both of these are commodity pairs. Therefore, you get a lot of sideways movement on them. But yeah, looks really, really nice. The downside to this one is if that monthly low does break, you've got a hell of a move back down into here. So that's the last propulsion move we had on the way up to there. That's your low from April. So if that low does fail, you've got probably about 250, 300 ADR to the downside. So you're looking at maybe 2/3 positions, in 3 trades in a position. But the advantage is you're already on the back of this leg here. So if this just sits and accumulates and then breaks, they're going to want to take profit on that entire move at some point. So it'll be a really nice profitable move when it does happen, but it could just happen straight from here and go up into propulsion. So again, part of what we're going to cover in the 2 outcomes. Where's it going? It's either going there from here or it's going down there, then it's coming up to there. One of those 2 things. New Zealand dollar Swiss. That's down at a nice old monthly level from April. Beautiful rejection there. That is a gap down this morning into that, but that looks nice. The RSI extension was on sort of Thursday last week. But yeah, don't know. Nice level that, but there's nowhere for it to go really, is there? You've got monthly and weekly resistance to the upside, which you could easily bat into and just go into accumulation. Then you've got another 2-month low, which kind of held up as resistance. They did manage to get through it, but batted back down again. So there's not really a lot of upside on that one. Got these targets here, these old ones, but none of these really are breaking a level. They're just strong moves. They're not breaking areas, so they're not great propulsion gaps. Not the prettiest chart in the world, but was an extension from last week. New Zealand dollar yen, sideways. New Zealand US, very nicely extended. Again, lovely opportunity out of propulsion. We've got a monthly low coming up at 125 ADR. We've got a weekly low coming up in a minute. We've got that weekly low, which was that propulsion break retest, which they've added to twice. So that looks really nice for an extension. Same as this, basically. Same as this. Same as that. That one's not quite as nice, but that one is. Yeah, same thing over and over again. US dollar CAD, already played out from last week. US dollar Swiss, already played out from last week. You are getting to the point now where if this market structure short is going to continue, that's where you want to be selling it to put in a new low. So that looks pretty good. Not that extended to the upside. I'd like to see it a little bit stronger, but it's not a bad level. And US dollar yen, sideways, not doing anything. That one at the moment. Oil, we know oil is in trouble at the moment. We are holding this 60. This, I keep saying about this $60. $60 is where it becomes uneconomical to produce oil. Not uneconomical, but it's a lot less profitable selling at $60 a barrel or less. So this is where the market kind of cap is on the downside. They don't like to go below 60. We're holding sort of 61-ish at the minute. But, you know, oil is in trouble at the minute. I wouldn't want to be living in Dubai when we suddenly switch to electric or hydrogen, because they're going to go bankrupt very quickly, aren't they? But yeah, it is struggling at the moment, partly why we've got the Canadian weakness, New Zealand weakness as well. But yeah, it's a difficult one to call. I'd be really interested in a long out of here. If we got an ADR alert, 125, 100 ADR, I'd be interested in that, because I think that will probably hold again. But whether or not it's got the legs to actually get any movement at the moment, I don't know. What we need is another conflict, don't we? So there we go. So there's a quick rundown. There's all your ADRs and RSIs covered. There's a few there to look at today. So they're all fairly decent, those 4 hour. There's a lot of opportunities there for getting into new positions if you want them. Pulling back on the DAX. So watch this propulsion move that we had. That is your propulsion gap today. So we're just retesting propulsion. Kind of didn't quite hit the upside support there, but we've got this whole area here basically, which is kind of previous resistance, which we kind of hit, smashed through. So this is the propulsion move through this whole area here. So anywhere in there basically could act as support. That's really going back up now. Look. So hopefully the sellers are just going to step in and hit these guys back down again today. See where we go. Right, Marco, I sent the screenshot to your Discord. Cool. Thank you, Marco. I think it's probably an easy fix. I think you'll find it is, for some reason, it's only picking up Elite membership, not Pro, because obviously I can access it. Let me just log out and log in with my other account, which is not an admin. Just double check. I've got two accounts, which are members. One of them is admin and one isn't. This is my non-admin account, and I can join the stream as well. So on the dashboard, I've put it on the dashboard as well here. Yeah, it's there. So this is a problem with Pro memberships. I'll end the stream in a minute, and I'll go and fix it, and then I'll let you know when I've fixed it. Why has nobody reported this? You guys have all been there all weekend, all scheduled. No one let me know until half an hour before the stream. I'm disappointed. My silly fat fingers when I'm programming. Right. Okay, so that's basically it for this morning. So hopefully that DAX holds up nicely this morning. Terrible day on Friday. That triple witching killed me. Look at that. 10% loss. This is obviously high risk account, this one, hence making 25% in the last 4 weeks. But yeah, still a profitable week last week, just made 3%, unfortunately. Was up 13% last week, but Friday, my word, absolute murder. It's a triple witching, and typically on triple witchings, you get stupendous movement. No, not Friday. Just did nothing, did it? It was awful, absolutely awful. But nothing you can do. Just one of those days, unfortunately. You have to take them on the chin. They happen. So nice rejection there in propulsion. So hopefully we'll push down into ADR today on that one. So there's plenty of little downside supports coming up here and here. So those are the areas you want to watch to the downside, assuming that does hold. A few different areas, but that is a decent area as well. Look there. Yeah. And that's also acted as support a couple of times as well. So this whole area basically. So if this does break down below that low, I shall take a partial. Right, I better go and fix the members area, haven't I? Chris, quick question. Where do you show the versions of ORB? I'm trying to check if I have the latest on my MT4. Under the free membership, no download links. It's on the website. So if you go to EA Downloads, love WordPress, it's so fast. If you just hover over the link, you can see down there it's MT5 version of ORB is 3.21. MT4 version is 3.2. We fixed a bug in, not sure what that was, but yeah, anyway, fixed it. 3.21 and 3.2. I'll always be running on the latest version, so you can always see the latest version on mine. If you can read that, which you probably can't, but that says 3.21 if you've got really, 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 really good glasses. Right, I'll leave it there. So, members, we will be back at 9 o'clock on Zoom. So I will get that. I'm going to work on that right now. So Marco and Mumble, who have sent me screenshots, if you're about, I will quickly try and put a fix in, and then I'm going to have to ask you, or I could downgrade my membership, couldn't I? Can't do it manually because it all runs on Stripe. I need a pro account, don't I? Yeah, so anyway, I might quickly ask you guys just to double check. So when I make a change to hopefully fix it, if you can just double check it to make sure it works, right? So yeah, so back at 9 o'clock in 20 minutes for members, and you should be able to access the stream. If you can't, message me and I will send you the link direct, okay? In Discord or Telegram, whichever you want to use, just so that I can send it to you direct so you can get in the room. All right, so have a good day. Next normal stream for YouTube is Wednesday afternoon. We'll trade the NASDAQ, the Dow, and gold. And anything else you need before then, let me know. I'll be in Discord or Telegram. Have a good day.